Our addictions aren't the problem. What we're addicted to isn't the source of the issue in our active addiction. When trying to rid ourselves of our addictions, tackling whatever we are addicted to in isolation, treating it as something separate, something apart, something alone by itself, is why we tend to fail in quitting, whether it's getting sober from a substance, quitting a bad habit, quitting bad relationships. Addictions come with associations, and it's our associations that keep us in addictions. Now, addictions will form associations, but it's the strength of the associations, what's surrounding our substance of choice, or what we involve ourselves in while we're using or being used by our addiction. Now, this could be a habit, it could be a relationship, it could be a substance, it could be a thought, right? We could be addicted to a pattern of thought. If something dominates our thinking when we're not actively in its presence, so say I'm a drinker and I'm at work 5 days out of the week and I only drink on the weekend, but come Wednesday, Thursday, all I'm thinking about is getting to Friday so that I can get out of work and go drink. Well, I would say I'm addicted to alcohol. I have an alcohol problem because the alcohol has dominated my thought throughout the week when I'm not even partaking in its use. So addictions aren't necessarily the source or the crux of our problem. And when we get rid of our addictions, if we get rid of what we are addicted to, a substance, alcohol, a habit, and we don't replace it, we're going to fail. We're going to fall back into our old patterns of behavior. It's not enough to just quit something. We have to replace it with something new, something better, something sustainable. But we also have to decouple the associations that are in relation to our addiction. Now, associations can be people, can be relationships, sights, sounds, smells, all of these things, music, certain places, anything that triggers a pattern of thought connected to our addiction or our substance or our use can trigger an urge. This is how urges usually come about. They're not generally random. A strong urge is usually in response to a relational cue. Our memories are relational in nature. And what that means is that we relate memories to our environment, to cues, like again, sight, smell, sound, environment. These bring up memories that are associated to our use, and that triggers an urge in response. Another huge association would be sex or lust. We can be addicted to the sexual urge. The urge to have sex is natural within us, but if it dominates our thinking, we get trapped into lust. If that's all we're thinking about, 99% of our thoughts are sexual in nature, then we're addicted to sex. We want sex, and it hijacks our default mode. And that eats up our cognitive resources, that takes away our attention, that shifts our focus. We're not able to do the things we want to do because we're consumed by the object of our desire. It doesn't have to be drugs. It doesn't have to be a substance. It doesn't have to be alcohol. Now, combining lust or sex with substances is how serious addiction can occur, because we're tying an innate natural drive to procreate with a stimuli or a stimulus such as a dopamine-inducing drug or alcohol, combined with an experience that stimulates the release of dopamine, and that will pair the stimulus or the stimuli together, and that creates a concomitant or compound addiction. And when we have our addictions are usually compounded. They usually come in bunches or chunks. We group our addictions, our habits, and our associations together along with environments, and it creates this complex neural network. A network in our brain, a semantic network, and a semantic network is just a network of meaning, of how we've mapped meanings into our brain, and we map it along certain neural pathways, and different neurons will activate different neural pathways, which trigger memories and can lead to urges. So when we have a relational cue or a memory that's in association to our substance of choice or our good time that we've had that involved drinking or an intimate encounter with a significant other or a lady of the eve or whatever, that'll cause a cascading effect that will trigger a powerful urge. And when that powerful urge hits us, we're like, where did this come from? Why do I feel like calling a buddy? Why do I feel like throwing work away and going on a 5-day bender? It's because we're not decoupling our associations from the stimuli, and we're not extinguishing the conditioned response. We're not giving ourselves enough space in between the stimulus and our associations. The stimulus would be the substance or the addiction. So what we have to do, we have to decouple. We have to distance ourselves, distance the associations from the stimulus, from the substance we're addicted to, or the alcohol, or the relationship, the habit, whatever. Over time, when we create distance, we weaken the neural networks. We weaken the associative networks in our brain, and that will lead to less urges that will rise in response to activation of a relational cue, trigger, memory, or environment. Now, when I was in active addiction, I know that taking the substance away wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to just get sober. I had to replace it with something better. And for me, I replaced that with higher learning, seeking higher knowledge, having a higher purpose, an upward aim. So I'm working towards building a career, and I'm working on creative projects. And this gives me natural, sustainable dopamine release. I'm accomplishing goals, and I'm achieving things in life. I'm doing the things that I set out to do. And that gives me a sense of pleasure. The achievement and the accomplishment has replaced my compulsive drug-seeking behavior. I don't need the drugs anymore. I don't need the drugs anymore because I've replaced the drugs and the alcohol with something better. And that something better is more sustainable. It's healthy. It benefits me. And it's helping me build a better future without destroying me. Drugs and alcohol were destroying me. Now I'm building myself back up, and I'm building a future by employing this technique of decoupling associations with the addictions and replacing the addictions or the habits with new habits that are healthier and are sustainable long term. So I hope this video helped you. If you enjoyed it, like and subscribe, and check out this video for more.